aware that when the NDC was in opposition, they promised that upon assumption of office, the minimum price they will pay for cocoa per bag, that is the producer price or the farmgate price, will be 6,000 Ghana cedis. Today, they have rather reduced the price of cocoa per bag, making the poor cocoa farmer worse off. They claim that there were some international market downturns. Therefore, the poor cocoa farmer should suffer for it. But is the reason why the state has reserves. Is the reason why we have a country called Ghana. That when there is crisis, the state must intervene. What the government has failed to tell us is how much it will cost the country should the cocoa farmer be given support by maintaining the 3,600 per bag of cocoa. They didn't tell us. They rather reduced the price, gave a haircut, and today, Mr. President could not offer any reasonable explanation. Neither could he give a justification for this haircut. We again reiterate our demand on the President and his government. Pay the cocoa farmer. Pay the cocoa farmer what is rightfully his.
Right, so he's my guest for the very first hour. He's a minority leader. He's the MP for Efutu, the Honorable MP for Efutu, Osahim Alexander Afenyo-Markin. Have you done the calculation about what it is that the president would have used to cushion the cocoa farmers?
Well, thank you very much. Government itself has not been transparent on this matter. You may recall that out of nowhere, we were told that there was an emergency cabinet meeting when the minority raised this issue. And then again, the finance minister came out with this announcement and reducing the farmgate price by 10 million cedis or 1,000 Ghana cedi. To us, that was most unfair because a very important decision such as reducing the producer price of cocoa that we all know affects the ordinary Ghanaian farmer, there should have been some stakeholder engagement. And you realize that soon thereafter, government tried to do some politics, claiming that it had directed the Attorney General to investigate some wrongdoing. I mean, I thought it was neither here nor there. I mean, it was quite unnecessary. The issue at stake was the cocoa price. And, you know, when we were in opposition, when we were in government, and we're having external pressure on the economy, and we said, look, Russia-Ukraine war was affecting our economy, they never took that for an answer. But today you are blaming it on the international market price. Be that as it may, my point is that government should have come out with the numbers. Okay, between now and the end of the season, this is how much it is going to cost government to intervene. Then we can all sit around the table and discuss.
Perhaps your thinking is that at a time when we have better reserves.
Of course, I mean, they claim that the reserves are good. That's what they claim. They say that they've made some macroeconomic gains. If that is the case, it's the reason why the state is there to intervene in such situations. And I see that as a major failure on the part of government by seeing this as an austerity measure to take to help the economy I'm sure it's because the IMF, officials were in town, and we know from our sources that they came under heavy IMF influence, and they were like, okay, you cannot. So go ahead and let this.
The president says that revising the cocoa producer price was a difficult decision to take, but I had to take them to ensure our collective well-being. He took us to what happened under the previous regime, which plunged us into a deep hole, and said we should learn our lessons.
Well, I disagree with him. He should have come out with the numbers. All right? I disagree with him. Since Gold Coast, we've never had a situation where a cocoa farmer would have to endure such hardship, where out of the blue, your farm gate price is reduced. It has never happened in our history. Again, it's the same government that says that we shouldn't blame international or external situations on how our economy functions. That is what they said in opposition. So they should also move away from that politics of convenience. You know, when you make a point and you justify it and you gain the trust of the people, you can't turn around and now say that, well, we have to tighten our belt and that fasten your seatbelt and all. No, I won't accept that. Government should be transparent about the decision. And I think that there was no transparency in that decision. The cocoa farmer must not suffer for it.
Your sympathy
this thing cannot be negotiated.
Right. Your sympathy for the farmers and your opposition has been sustained for a period now. Now that you are hearing that even Ivory Coast has done the same and made its farmers worse, because Ghanaian cocoa farmers are even going to get what they are getting is about a double what the Ivory Coast cocoa farmer is going to get. Will your position change?
It won't. I'm not interested in Ivory Coast. This is not Ivory Coast. This is Ghana. So don't give me that room to compare. I'm dealing with an absolute situation. The Ghanaian farmer, the Ghanaian cocoa farmer, pay him what is due him. I'm not interested in Côte d'Ivoire. They have their own economic situation. And by the way, Côte d'Ivoire, they have a different system regulating their cocoa sector.
That's right.
So the situation cannot be the same. What it is that government must pay the cocoa farmers.
The president said that work is well advanced on on a legislation over this cocoa pricing situation. You think it's the best approach to take?
We were promised 3 weeks ago that there will be a legislation that will champion reforms in the cocoa sector. We welcome it. Let us see the document. Let us discuss it. But in the meantime, pay the Ghanaian cocoa farmer.
But in principle,
you cannot reduce the farm gate price when you've already committed to it and the farmer has gone to take a loan from the cocoa krache. The farmer's children are in school. They need money to pay hostel fees. They need money to pay school fees. They've taken money to, plow their farms. And out of nowhere, you say that you are reducing.
So now I seem to appreciate why you term this as illegal, because you just canvass the basis why you say this reduction is illegal. But in principle, do you support a legislation that brings a sort of a deregulation of the sector?
If that is a new thinking of government, it should be brought on board for us to discuss. I'm sure years back, we did that for the petroleum sector.
That's right.
Where we now, over time, legislated and said that, look, the market should regulate the petroleum sector. So
That's
that
right.
it's not the case that every now and then government would have to intervene. But even so, cocoa is a different scenario. You cannot strictly say that you would want the market to determine farm gate price. There must be some form of state intervention. You have to balance it. So I am waiting to see the bill. We have our economic committee, finance committee. We have our experts in the caucus. We will look at it. We have our external consultants, other stakeholders, on our side. We will look at it and present a view. But I would want to say that government should not attempt to wholly take away its intervention in the cocoa subsector.
The 2026 budget didn't impress you. Yesterday's SONA also did not impress you at all. In fact, you asked the question if yebedi macroeconomics.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know yebedi ana. Yeah, maybe say because mental say they be about macroeconomics, the numbers. You see, I'm not an economist, but this is what I understand in practical terms. If you say inflation has come down, as an ordinary entrepreneur, ordinary businessman, the Praja driver, the taxi driver, the Uber driver, should see the effect of that in his life. So when you talk about inflation, I see it as more of an IMF-driven policy of make sure you get the macroeconomic indicators stable, and then you do that for the IMF, and then you come and tell me that I should applaud you. I cannot, because in my daily life, I don't see the impact. I can only talk about your success story, appreciate it, if I see its impact. Our food prices going down when we go to the market. Electricity. Look, government has increased it by 30%. That is the paper hike. But in reality, you talk to the people, my own home in Winneba, you get the electricity, the prepaid, and then it takes you for a period. Over the weekend, when I went to Winneba, Sunday when I was about leaving, then my boy told me that we were using the genset because prepaid nasa. I said, prepaid that. Yet 3,000 Friday, Saturday. But I say, you have air conditioner. Now, what's the problem? I said, Chief, says you're the man or two. And I asked around, and I was told that that's what it is.
Yeah, I had to write a letter formally. I had to formalize it, write a letter to the ECG in my area to complain about the vanishing credits. But they say that there's a committee, Jinapo has formed a committee giving them 7 days to investigate. The PRC have assured us that if anybody's credits have been stolen, they'll be restored.
No. You see, there's a problem, very fundamental. It's the reason why I've consistently said government should push the reforms, continue what we started. There was this reform program that President Akufo-Addo initiated, where these meters, we have a lot of meters that have outlived its purpose. So you don't get correct reading. I experienced that in my own home, and I had to call them to come and change it. So that one is there. There are some meters that are not reading at all. So when you buy your credit, it consumes everything. I don't think that since January 2025, the NDC government has taken the reforms that we started serious. They are not pursuing any reform in the energy sector. And I'm saying that many Ghanaians, and this one is not NDC, MPP, Samson, we need to face the reality. And that is the problem we, the political actors, have. We know the problem, but sometimes for political convenience, we allowed it.
So from where you sit, this is actually not a problem that requires probing because it is a result of the tariff hike. Because when I reported, they brought their technicians to come and check. They checked everything and told me there's nothing wrong with my meter. There's nothing wrong with my wiring. So, nothing
the tariff
wrong.
hike, they promised that they were going to make life better. And yesterday, Mr. President said, they've taken away e-levy. But you took away e-levy and brought D-levy, the energy sector reform levy, where we are paying a cedi, Ghana cedi, per liter of petrol we buy. So you've imposed a new levy, which is even more expensive than the e-levy you came to repeal. It is costing us more, and government is generating more revenue as a result of that, compared to the e-levy you claim it was a nuisance tax. So really, you've done nothing. Then, on top of it, you've worsened it by imposing a 30% tariff hike that the ordinary Ghanaian should pay. And in reality, it is more than 30%.
Do you appreciate that they are taking bold decisions that will assist us in the future, as the president said, and that regardless of that, you cannot discount the fact that, for example, we spoke about inflation a while ago, now at 3.8% from 23.8% in 2025. In 2024, talk about the exchange rate, now also doing very well, or they've sustained it for a long period now. In December 2024, 14.7, now 10.65. These are real.
Okay, so exchange rates, the cedi is stable, but what is the effect? Are you putting in incentives that will create jobs, that would help with job creation? I don't see any. I think government is too fixated on this Goldbod and using gold for reserves to stabilize the currency. And that is too simplistic a policy to be sustained. I don't see how government can sustain that. Because in the area of agriculture, look at the 2026 budget. No meaningful investment is being made in the area of agriculture. I've been asking the whereabouts of the agric minister, because he was quite loud. He made very strong arguments in opposition. And I'm saying that if government is that serious, there would have been enough, or there would have been sufficient investment in the area of agriculture. But they are fixated on this Goldbod thing, and all their energies are on Goldbod, abandoning other areas of the economy. They came to cancel the 1D, 1F. I've been asking the trade minister, what is the alternative policy? Look, Samson, I ask these because as a private sector person, these are the things that when I see, I can say, indeed, is driving economic growth. I talk to my colleague entrepreneurs, and they are in a worse situation than before.
Really?
Because, I'm explaining to you, because government is not introducing any tax breaks for them. There's no incentive. They should mention a single incentive for the private sector since they came into office. Rather, GRA is always on their neck. I don't know whether they've come to your law firm, but they have been to my law firm.
They do.
Doing tax audit, and I'm not saying it is wrong anyway.
Right.
Rather, GRA is more focused on how to get taxes and chasing the few businesses that are around. Tax. All right? I won't say that chasing after tax is wrong, because you need it. But then you should expand the frontiers and create an environment that would enable people to look. Instead of locking their money in any investment, they would think about using that money to produce, to do business. How many businessmen, how many businesses have registered to invest in Ghana since 2020?
It is in this same situation you are complaining about that we have 1 million people who have got jobs.
1 million people.
That's according to the Statistical Service, unless you don't believe their statistics.
Respect, I challenge Dr. Alassane to come and give us a breakdown. They should stop this.
They've given a breakdown in the agric sector and various other sectors, industry, and so on. Yes, they have.
Please. I want a debate with Dr. Alassane.
Over 13,000 nurses have been employed. You are complaining about employment.
Oh, but we have many more nurses who are complaining that they've not been employed. Check the numbers. There are many more who completed as far back as 2023. Teachers who have graduated, waiting for posting, that they've not posted them. So why come and applaud yourself?
Well, those who were recruited within 2024, 2025,
there were people who were recruited.
They've done a whole year. They've not been paid.
There were people who were recruited, okay, whose appointment were terminated. This government came into office. There was a government directive for Ghanaian youth who were in the employ of state-owned institutions that sacked them. They introduced the sack them.
We've been complaining about that for a long time.
Yes.
In a sustained fashion. But the other counter-argument
so how can you say you've created a...
Counter-argument has been that just when you are exiting, you decided to, overburden the exchequer.
Be that as it may, job was created, correct? So don't mind the procedure. Was it prudent to create that job opportunity? Yes. Procedurally, if there was anything wrong with it, rectify and ratify. That's why we have something called ratification. That is why we have something administrative called rectification. So you rectify the situation, but don't let the man who has been employed and is feeding himself, feeding his family, suffer. In any event, there were excesses in the implementation of that directive. I'm sure the letter from the Chief of Staff was specific that those who were employed post-election. But the chief executives, heads of institutions, they went down to like 2017. People who had been in employment. If you go to Ghana Water, you go to ECG, EXIM, Maritime Authority. I have a pile of letters in my office. Somebody was employed 2018. Somebody 2017. Has been in employment for 6 years, 7 years. They were all sacked. DVLA, SNIT, all the state institutions. We're not talking about the mainstream civil service or public service, but those commercial institutions that are state-owned, they just went berserk, sacked all of them, and they are staying
in the area of agriculture.
How do you then say that you have created jobs?
In the area of agriculture, 720,000 birds in the Concrete project have been distributed to 13,000 farmers.
I'm sure Mr. President said that in jest.
In jest?
Yeah, I'm sure.
That means each farmer got 55 birds.
I'm sure Mr. President...
If they are giving equally, each farmer got 55 birds.
I don't know who put that in the speech, but, these are pardonable offenses.
You think it's an error? It's a slip?
Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed, and out of deference to Mr. President, I won't stretch this. Because we are dealing with serious economic policy decisions, okay? Where you're saying that, look, in the agro sector, you want to get into poultry, help the ordinary poultry farmer, so deal with it at that micro level in your various homes to create some informal, opportunity for you. And you've not rolled it out, and you say, oh, there was some experiment of a sort. You see, something, truth be told, I think that this government has taken its goodwill for granted. They had a huge goodwill.
They still do.
Well, I won't go into that debate. But I'm saying that even if they still do, it is depleted. They are taking it for granted, and there is no serious action. Slogan. Each time the government finds itself in a tight corner, it will go and arrest one MPP member and say some corruption. You say slogan. They are telling you that they are laying the steps. Women's Bank, you have complained about it. 24-hour, they've done 24-hour economy. They've now done the legislation. You don't need a bureaucracy for 24-hour economy. Bro, you don't need a bureaucracy. Just come out with the incentives. My understanding of that 24-hour economy as an entrepreneur simply is that creating an incentive to propel economic growth. Simple. Right. So what are the incentives? What must you do? One, energy, electricity. If you want to seriously encourage private sector growth, cost of energy is critical. Look, I have a friend. He's not permitted me to say it all, but I'll just give you a bit of it. I have a friend. He set up a factory. The factory is not operational because of cost of energy. The transformer that he's supposed to get from ECG cannot provide it. 2, he's trying to get direct power from Greco. That one too has become a matter. The cost, now he regrets. He's invested huge sums of money in this factory. He's done for over 6 months. He cannot operate because of the cost of energy. Meanwhile, if the man had started his business, I'm sure in the minimum, he would have created some 100 jobs. Is that okay?
But we're told that this 24-hour economy, the capital investment by way of equipment and so on, when they are being brought in, just like was done in 1D, 1F, they'll get tax-free, tax exemptions.
Tax. I'm saying that you don't need an authority. You don't need to create another bureaucracy. That is my point. 2, on the issue of taxation. Look, as an entrepreneur, all I need is to get that tax break, that space, so that I can reinvest my profit in the business. I can expand. If I'm bringing machinery, I'm bringing in raw materials, and it's going to cost me so much, what is the incentive? So government would have to look at it. I'm saying that you can announce this as a policy. The trade ministry can just lead this. You don't need to now say you are creating an authority, a legislation, and then now going to drive that. You don't need it. You don't. When the 1D, 1F initiative, was implemented, we didn't need another separate entity to implement it.
But there was someone appointed to have special oversight over it.
Under the minister's supervision, oversight. So they should go ahead and implement. The talking is too much. The talking is too much. The PR, they are getting fixated on government PR. You know, sometimes you pay too much attention to PR. Ministers are interested in social media talk than action. Look, the young men and women who followed them and were singing, they are tired of singing. They want jobs. That is a reality. You can't continue to talk. Then every day, MPPO, that one will not help.
Comparatively, when do you recall that a new government comes in and within a year, 1 million jobs have been, people have gotten employment, 1 million people, that's many?
Samson, first of all, I don't believe in this 1 million job. I don't want to say it's a scam, but I don't believe in it. I don't believe it is true. 1 million jobs in the informal sector or the formal sector. What are the breakdowns? Temporary jobs that 1 million people got, some 6-month jobs, some Tuwarasa jobs, or some construction, Now, if government is saying we've had 1 million jobs created, then let's just look at the opportunities in their budget. Are there major construction works ongoing? Their big push. Is there any implementation? At the district assemblies, what are the jobs that are being created?
But you heard the president yesterday, big push.
Job construction.
There's a lot of work that is going on.
What I'm saying, they should tell us. It shouldn't be that opposition, so we are just criticizing. They should sit with us, tell us, give us the breakdown. There is nothing.
A while ago, you spoke about trying to shift attention. So we talk about cocoa issues, the genuine issues, and then they say, let's go look for who must have done some wrong somewhere. We have heard you, again, be very consistent on the question of arrest and prosecutions of persons suspected of some corruption and so on. Are you suggesting that if people have done wrong, they should not be, as it were, asked to account?
Something, no. You get into public service, you should be mindful that one day you would have to account for your stewardship. And I don't disagree with that constitutional imperative. Accountability. It's there in our constitution. Probity, accountability. So you come into public service, that should be expected. But the way and manner it is done is what we are questioning. You see, government came into office, the first thing it did was to enter nolle prosequa. Nolle prosequa on matters that were already in court. If this government wanted it to be taken serious, that look, there is a whole research agenda, it should have allowed the court system to deal with the matter. They should have allowed the court system.
Some of those people, they felt that they were being unjustly persecuted.
What I'm saying,
and so they needed to free them.
What I'm saying is that if they are innocent, let the court deal with it. So that there is a judicial pronouncement. That was the first thing. And you know, Transparency International took that matter up, all right? You show signs of selective justice. Now, on MPP, look, it is to be expected. You leave office, a new government comes in, they want to probe. But my point is that be seen to be doing it fairly. Look at Iyoko. You invite the person comes. Then you say, I have detained you, or I've granted you bail, but bring property worth the amount of the alleged investigation. Who does that?
So what's your problem? Is it with the detention or the bail amounts that are fixed?
Rather
bail conditions.
Onerous bail conditions. And I see that as being one of the ways to frustrate, to punish, and to create a certain impression on the minds of the public that you're already guilty.
But they reserve the right to say that we are not even granting you bail for the time that the law allows us to hold you.
Justify. But ordinarily, if I come to you, you invite me, and I come, I expect that I am treated fairly.
As a lawyer, you know that, and you have been used to this.
Yes.
I know that you have done a lot of work at Iyoko and even done cases that have sought to transform the way they conduct themselves. When your client is invited, you know that that invitation is literally an arrest. And that when they get to the place, there are two things that are going to happen. Either they're going to make an ordinary statement where they walk out, or they will give a caution statement and they'll be detained.
So the legitimate expectation is that I will be treated fairly. The government of this whole argument is centered on fair play, equality before the law, not excesses that offend Article 296 of the Constitution. That, to us, is where we have a challenge. And then the Attorney General. I've had occasion to publicly and privately discuss this matter with my respected senior, the Attorney General, that it is not right to hold press conference to discuss a case and create certain impressions of guilt. His argument that, in the United States, it is done. But Ghana is not United States. The Commonwealth law practice that we have here and the nature of the Ghanaian society, if you go on this path, on the minds of people, the person is guilty. The person has stolen. And it doesn't help all of us as stakeholders, because if we don't end this vicious cycle of, you did it to me, I will do it to you, all of you are thieves. Out there, the ordinary Ghanaian does not trust the political
so your complaints,
political leaders.
Your complaints, your protest over these matters, do you feel that they have been listened to?
In all fairness, to some extent, they've toned down. But again, they are still, in their game. I mean,
which is which?
For me,
it's either they've toned down or they've not.
But they've not ended it completely. Why? Where I sit, I do a lot of the engagement, and
we have seen you make some of the interventions publicly. People are being arrested. You are the one in the evening at NIB securing their, release. Reverend Tim Fojo, you are the one that marshals your mighty minority to the place, literally fiscally block, states from being able to operate. Various other places we see you do that.
The phrase "stop the state from operating." That one, Samson, I think that's too much. I think that, to be fair to them, there has been situations where the engagements have yielded positive results. And I must also say that they have somewhat toned down compared to when they came into office in the early days. But what I'm saying is that let's have a rather fair system where the person will not think twice appearing before you. For instance, Gift Your Worry. We spoke to her that come. She was out of the jurisdiction. And there was this issue, they need her and all that. She came. Something that they did that I told them that, look, you've done well. There were officers at the airport, waiting to arrest her. And they stopped it. And the lady herself walked to NIB. I mean, I said, this is fair. Over a weekend, they wanted to hold her. We spoke to them that, look, the person came in all the way from abroad. She walked to your office. She has a lawyer. Why keep her? Grant her bail. Let her appear the next Monday. They did it. And she appeared. She's in court. You are prosecuting her. And she's standing trial. Nobody is complaining.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm saying that if we continue on that path, because governance is not ending today. We are building a democracy. And you never can tell. 2028 is another election year.
Yeah. So in all of these things,
sure.
we heard how you make an intervention and you give a guarantee sort of with your name. You give a guarantee and you're able to secure the freedom of your people. And people have asked the question, it's the same way that you made a promise that you will ensure that Ken will be here. He's not here.
Okay. So in the Ken Ofori-Atta case, he brought a medical report. And at the time, OSP needed him, and then the discussion was to give him up to May so that he finishes the procedure and come. That was the representation I made at the political level. But soon thereafter, I think things got out of hand because of the declaration of he being a fugitive, and then the matter became a purely legal matter. I took myself out of it because lawyers were then handling.
Okay.
So, yes, I made a political commitment, and that was what I said, and I'm not running away from it. It was a fact. As a leader of the party, his doctor spoke to me, brought me the evidence, and I approached the authorities that, look, this is the man's situation. He wants up to this period. Once the lawyers took over, it ends there.
So you're saying that circumstances, happened that discharged you of your obligation?
Indeed. I mean, simply that.
So what do you think about the circumstance now? He's not here. And people have said this is hurting your party.
You see, I think we have not been very fair in dealing with Ken Ofori-Atta as politicians, as people. We want the rule of law. We want fair hearing and all. But we are quick to pronounce people guilty. Yesterday, I was a bit upset in Parliament. I was upset because our colleagues on the other side brought Ken Ofori-Atta's picture. As a leader of the minority in Parliament, I've been so measured. There are times that I get it wrong. I'm not a perfect guy. But I've been very measured when it comes to managing issues that affect individuals. Because I know that the way public service is, there are things that the minister may not know. And he is ultimately responsible. But to come to Parliament, show the picture, Ken also has a family. His brother is a parliamentarian. Yesterday, I felt the pain of his brother. When I was sitting there, his brother Duke texted me, "Leader, why are they doing this to my brother?" And I became emotional. His brother texted me, Duke Ofori-Atta.
Ghanaians say, they say they should just tell him to come. That's all.
Hold on. Let's deal with issues step by step. I am not standing in the way of anybody asking for accountability.
All right.
I don't want anybody to get me wrong. I am talking about the way and manner we are going about things, and the way some people used Parliament to crucify him. All right? And it's the reason why I reacted in a certain manner, because I felt the pain that, oh, you guys, that's what you are up to. Because you see, in opposition, a lot of things get to your table. You get to know a lot of things. All right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of things we know, but we are measured. We are measured.
They say an easy lies the head that wears the crown.
Exactly.
There's a lot of attention to you. Everybody wants to bring their problem through you to resolve.
We are measured. This recruitment exercise and a lot. Look, for national security reasons, there are a lot of things I wouldn't want to say and would want to just engage even our colleague.
But you hinted in Parliament that something wrong is going on, something corrupt is going on.
What I'm saying is... What
is that about?
Well, no, we would engage the minister privately. These are...
But you said it publicly.
Yes, but I've hinted. And I'm saying that because of what they did, that you want to pronounce people guilty before trial. So I was just signaling them that be fair.
He who comes to equity
must come with clean hands, must do equity.
Yes, so why is it that you say this is unfair to prejudice people and so on, and you are doing it?
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I hinted of a wrongdoing. And of course, at the appropriate time, that is why I didn't mention a name.
What's the nature of this wrongdoing?
Oh, please. Bojidi.
So, let's quickly look at this. You know, the way time flies, the Chief Justice removal, Justice Torkornoo, I could tell that that was such a faith-shaking, you know, situation for you, and you felt so hurt about it.
No.
To the point that you went all gun blazing at the judiciary, a place where you earn a living.
Oh, you know, my Lord Bafubone is my very good friend. I don't know whether he still sees me as his best good friend. But, you know, you've used this phrase, uneasy is the head that carries the crown, right? I don't do things personal. I'm the leader of a caucus, and I'm to take charge of caucus decisions. People should look at my reaction in the broader context of upholding rule of law, ensuring institutional independence, and not limited to a personal agenda to fight for a hero who is fallen. No. I believe that the way and manner that the whole exercise was carried was most unfair. To the extent that even today, cases that her ladyship, the Chief Justice Torkornoo, took to the Supreme Court have not been listed. There is no expeditious trial to at least deal with the issue.
Sometimes the fault is on the part of the lawyers. You know if the lawyers have pushed it. In the Court of Appeal, in the Supreme Court, you and I know that often you have to push it.
There'll be the devil's advocate on this, I agree. But I'm saying that the judiciary appears not to be in a hurry to dispense justice. And that is most unfair, considering the gravity of the matter and its constitutional implication. You see, Samson, it is today, there is a tomorrow. I will not say MPP, 8 years, everything was perfect. It couldn't have been. But this administration is to pick up the pieces and improve upon it and say that, look, this thing happened yesterday. We will not allow it to happen today. We'll make things better.
People are looking for you to be consistent. That's what they want. So that if you say she's being treated wrongly, they wanted to have heard you say a similar thing was done to Charlotte and her deputies. That was wrong. They want you to look at it this way and say, oh, Justice Bafubone has just also given a ruling. In fact, you had concluded that the EC and her deputies are gone. And here they are. They've not gone because the Chief Justice is the one that has saved them. The same Chief Justice that you call names.
Oh, you think so? First of all, I've not called my Lord Bafubone names. I've not called him names. I have had concerns about the way and manner the judiciary itself, the Supreme Court, allowed themselves to be used as a vehicle to oust one of their own. I've told them privately and I've told them publicly I've not changed from that. But I've not called him names.
You've called the judiciary to shameful animal farm conduct with the Pandai ruling. So and then when they overturn it, you go to praise them. Okay, so people are looking for the consistency.
So don't take me out of context. I singled out the conduct of the High Court judge in Tamale. I singled him out. Listen, you go to court, parties appear before you, you say that your ruling is ready. Then you just make a pronouncement. You promise them, come Friday. Friday, they are sitting in your court, and then from nowhere, they say, my lord is indisposed. Meanwhile, you are in the office. And they say he's not in Accra. He's not in Tamale. He's been called to Accra. Look, I don't want to go there. We know what we know. But I remember Donald Rumsfeld said, there are some known unknowns, and there are known unknowns. There are things that we would not want to discuss in public. So let's leave it there. I wasn't wrong at all. I knew what I was saying. But let's leave it there.
You even let the CJ visit you.
Oh, but he's not decided. He's not saying he wants to.
He was doing that around. But we were asking if he was doing a thank you tour.
He was upset. I said he was on
But that was most unfair.
But he was on a thank you tour. He was on a thank you tour. He was thanking the stakeholders. Was there anything wrong with thanking the stakeholders? He was on a thank you tour. Samson.
You are happy about the overturn of the rerun for Pandai?
No, but that decision had a problem. So it was not, I mean, I didn't see it as an extraordinary.
So it is wrong if it does not align with your caucus?
No, not that. Don't get it wrong. We look at it case by case. It's not that we want everything to go in our favor. No. We look at situations case by case, Samson.
Right.
And if we criticize a decision, is there anything wrong with it? Our friends did worse things, didn't they?
The wrongs you have found in the Article 164 process, what are you doing as leader of your group or a leader in Parliament to change things?
Well, I think there's a whole constitutional review committee. The report is out. The Attorney General has written to us. In our caucus, we set up a committee working with the party. So I'm sure very soon our position will be made known. We presented a position to the committee,
right.
And then now that there's a whole legislation that is going to be kicked in, you hear from us.
I want to find out about your transition from majority leader to minority leader and how it feels now in the House. But just one question. In Ken's situation, will you advise that he comes down? Because it is said that it's hurting your party, and you have been preaching that everybody must support your party to make it win power in 2028.
I think Ken has his lawyers who are reviewing his case. He has lawyers in the United States. He has lawyers in Ghana. And he subjected himself to a judicial process. At this point, it's not about a personal view. It's about the person having taken a judicial step. Let it run its course.
Isn't the simple solution he coming to the country? That's all.
But the law also allows trial in absentia, doesn't it? The law also allows trial in absentia. So his coming in or not coming in, like what my Lord Apau said, that in proving a person's guilt, the accused does not play any role at all. You don't need him to play any role.
So that we set up a situation where if somebody does wrong, we can let them go wherever they want to go and then we try them in absentia.
No, Samson, at this point, we are talking as lawyers. My respected senior, the Attorney General, then as a professor at the university, took up the Tagore case. When all lawyers had given up, he took up the Tagore and Issa Abbas case.
Right.
And pursued it on appeal. And that judicial pronouncement is still profound, okay? Where the lords, the judges at the Court of Appeal had the occasion to make very profound statements. to the effect that in prosecuting a matter, the accused person does not play any role. It is not about what he has said. It is not about his physical presence or otherwise. It's about the prosecution proving essential ingredients of the offense, leading evidence, that evidence establishing a prima facie. At
that stage, the accused person would have participated by having their plea taken. They would have counsel who would do a cross-examination.
All of that, what I'm saying that if an accused person decides not to take advantage of these rights, enshrined in the Constitution, the law would have given him that space already.
All right. So let's not belabor that. I wanted to know your current circumstance. It must feel quite. That's like a difficult one for you.
Well, of course.
Your new reality. How are you coping with it?
Oh, nothing too strange. Nothing too new. It's rather quite involving because, you see, our party is a party of peers. In Parliament, you have your colleagues who are experts in their own rights. You cannot say that merely being the leader, you want to take advantage and do as you please. You cannot. You are the first among your equals. You need to do a lot of consultation, get divergent views. And the party outside Parliament, especially our Council of Elders, Samson, they don't rest. They are very active in this governance process, and you need to get their views.
You're having your say, the majority is having its way. That's a major difference, a marked difference.
Yeah, but sometimes they try to rush things through. But I respect them. I also don't envy Ayariga. Sometimes I've been there, so I know the situation he finds himself to push back.
Perhaps my final question too is that you've been accused of engaging in populism and obstructionism rather than constructive scrutiny.
Okay, I'm constructive. I'm not obstructive. Populism, I would accept it. It's part of politics. You must be populist to rally people behind you. A politician who has no populism blood in him cannot survive. So populism, I would accept. Obstructionism, no. The ministers of states, each one of them, if they would come and talk about Afenyo-Markin, they would be, and they want to be very honest, they will tell you that I am the most constructive character they have ever encountered in that chamber. Look, because I have been there before, I know how difficult it is to govern. I was majority leader in a hung parliament, and I will not do anything to undermine any minister.
All right.
Look, sometimes before I come out publicly to make a statement, I engage them. I won't take anybody out. Ask them. And any interview, ask them. I will tell them, oh, bro, this thing has come to my attention. What do you think? What is it? They would explain. I say, okay, you know, this is our position. It's not personal. And I move on. Because that relationship was well carved between Atu Forson and I. Atu and I relate way back. But when he became minority leader and I was majority leader, there was an understanding between us that keep friendship, do your job. And I enjoyed it. Anytime I needed Atu's assistance and I would call and he wouldn't pick, I understood that to mean I disagree with you.
People have understood you to have an admirable posture when it comes to the question of loyalty. So maybe perhaps my very last question will be, this role, national role that you have on you, it must be affecting local development for your constituency, Efutu, or rather it's a benefit. And how do you see Bawumia leading you to victory in 2028?
God willing, he would win. I'm positive about that because his own posture after the election tells me that he's more than ready to get everybody on board. In politics, your ability to win is first putting all your own house in order. Of course, there are people who may not want to align with him. But any serious party member looking at the man's posture has no choice. If you love the party, that is our leader. Let's all rally behind him. He has a clear vision for the country. This is digitalization talk that people rejected. As a student of AI, I'm pursuing a program that is AI-based. And I look at it and say, wow, this is what the man was talking about, that the country did not understand him. But perhaps, as we move along, this vision of creating a digitalized economy would be appreciated. Let us give him the chance. He's been vice president. He's gotten the nod of the party. That is what we have.
All right.
And any serious party member has no choice. I have no choice. My loyalty is to him, to the party, his vision. And that is my commitment. And action will speak louder.
Thank you very much. That's Osahi Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who is the minority leader in Parliament. And of course, I know many of you are still expecting me to ask the question I had asked him the other day, but he answered it sufficiently. We have heard the General Secretary also come to say that he's not under siege. There's no plan to remove him. And you've heard even the people who are being named as those who are potential in line to take over from him. Some say there's nothing like that. So I think we can put that to bed. Thank you so very much for making time to join us here.
It's a pleasure.
Right. Wish you the very best.
Thank you so much.
Right. Thank you. We'll be right back. This is Newsfile.